sun is up and we're about to close it down with one last song. She Hates Me by Puddle of Mud and Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer played at the same time.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house.
All right, and welcome to the second episode of the Get Off the Stage podcast. Now, I'm a person of many interests. My name is Claire Lefton. I am a film and journalism student at The Ohio State University, and when I tell people about stuff I like, they tend to not be as interested and more like, hey, shut up, or get off the stage, as it were. So today I'm talking about one of my favorite shows right now. It's one of my favorite comedies, and I am here. He is the Michael to my Janet, Austin. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Austin. I am an accounting student at The Ohio State University, and I'm glad to be here. Listen to the first episode, and I can assure you, viewers, that there will be 1,000% less sexual tension.
Oh, 1,000.
Yes, you're right.
Not between me and... We're talking about Elizabeth and David.
Yes, they're not here. The happy couple of Fan 5 Stick is gone.
We love you guys,
Yeah.
but cool it.
Yeah, now this sad single fucks.
Woo!
Or forks, as it were, given the
Forks
topic of the
as it were.
episode.
Okay, so The Good Place. The Good Place is such a good comedy. It was created by Michael Schur, who has made some of my other favorite comedies, namely Parks and Rec and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like his brand of silly, positive comedy, because you don't see a lot of that right now. It's a lot of, like, cynical stuff, but I like how it's sort of comedy from kindness and, like, kind people.
Yeah, no, the Good Place is a really uplifting show when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's all about, like, what does it mean to be a good person, and how, like, even in death, like, you can learn to be a better person
Mm-hmm.
and not be an asshole, and that's, like, really cool.
Yeah, I really like that, too. So the premise of the show, basically... all right, let's try to break it down. So, Eleanor Shellstrop, played by Kristen Bell,
Yep.
wakes up, as it were. We keep saying as it were. I don't know why. It's not a phrase I usually use that much. But anyway, and she walks into an office, and there is Ted Danson, the architect Michael, to tell her, congratulations, you've made it to the good place, you are dead. The good place is basically heaven.
Yeah, they don't use the terms heaven and hell, but, like, they have the good place, the bad place, and the medium place, which I'm sure we'll talk more about.
Oh, absolutely.
But it effectively works like heaven and hell does.
Yes. There's a point system. You earn points or get points taken away based on the deeds you do in your life, and I think a net positive means you go to the good place. Is it a net positive?
It made it sound like an excessively high net positive.
Very few people get into the good place.
Right. The first episode makes the claim that only one president has ever made it to the good place, that being Abraham Lincoln, because he ended slavery. And that, like, Florence Nightingale...
She did not get in.
Right, but there's reasons to believe this may or may not be true.
Yeah, and philosophers didn't make it in.
None of them.
People do not get in.
People from, like, and that's the thing is that, like, beyond the obvious, like, good and bad things that you can do to get points, the show also has a sense of pettiness as part of the comedy of, like, what are good and specifically bad. Like, being from Florida automatically is, like, gone. Liking pineapple on pizza, I'm pretty sure, is a big negative.
Let's go through. We have a screen grab here showing a bunch of, things you can do that'll get you positive or negative. Let's go through some of the positives first. Okay, there's Sing to a Child. Mm-hmm. That'll get you plus 0.69. You can end slavery. That's
over 800,000 points.
Yeah. Fix a broken tricycle for children who love tricycles.
Right.
You can remember your sister's birthday.
Right.
Step carefully over a flower bed.
Remain loyal to the Cleveland Browns for plus 53.8 points.
You can scratch your elbow. Pet a lamb. Save a child from drowning. That's only 1,200 points.
Oh yeah, not enough, man.
No. You can purify a water source for a village with a population over 250.
For less than 300 points. It's not super high. Maintain composure in line at a water park in Houston.
Yeah.
60 points.
You can hug a sad friend. Because I think the idea here is that what you do that's negative will more harshly impact those around you than the positive things you do. So it is very hard to get a high positive score, but very, very easy to get a low one.
Absolutely.
Look at some of the low things you can do. You can fail to disclose a camel's illness when selling a camel.
You're right. That's minus 22. Sexual harassment clocks in about 700 points.
Committing genocide is around 430,000.
Right, yeah.
You can poison a river.
Right. Ruining an opera with your boorish behavior is negative 90 points. Telling a woman to smile
that's
is
the worst.
Negative 53 points.
You can be a commissioner of a professional football league, American.
See, there's those petty things we just mentioned.
Yeah, you can steal copper wiring from a decommissioned military base. Overstate personal connection to a tragedy that has nothing to do with you. I hate it when people do that. You can blow a nose and press one nostril down and exhale. You can use Facebook as a verb. Root for the Yankees.
Another one that gets pointed out later in the show is that paying to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers is a huge negative.
Rev a motorcycle. Use the term bro code. Stiff a waitress. What's that one? It's very small. Disturb a coral reef with... What is that? Flipper. Okay.
Yeah. We were looking at a screen grab. The show is really good if you can, like, freeze frame at the right time. And there's a lot of, like, background, like, humor you can look at for this show. And this is just a screen grab of when, at the beginning, Michael explains to everybody who made it to the good place the kind of stuff that gets you plus and minus points.
Yes, there are other people she meets along the way. There is the real Eleanor's supposed soulmate, Chidi Anagonye.
Yes, in the good place, everyone has a soulmate, and hers is Chidi, who is
He's a Senegalese moral philosophy professor.
Yes.
There is her neighbor, Tahani Al-Jamil. She's British, and she name drops constantly.
Yes, she comes from a very wealthy family, and she's
philanthropist.
Yes, and so, like, constantly she's talking about all the famous people she meets. I'm pretty sure she's named at least 2 or 3 people, like, it's her godparents that are super famous.
I remember going... My time in Vietnam with my godmother Diana. It doesn't matter what she was princess of.
And then later she calls Maggie Smith her godmother in a different episode.
And her soulmate, the monk Jean Yu.
Yes.
And there is my favorite character, she's not a robot.
She's not a girl.
She's kind of Siri, but for the good place. Her name is Janet, played by Darcy Carden.
Eleanor has referred to her as Busty Alexa.
She's delightful she's sort of... I don't know how to describe her. There's not a lot...
Yeah, no,
It's a very unique character.
Yes, she exists that any time they can call for Janet, and then she will appear and answer any questions or provide them with anything they may desire. And including, and this is kind of a weird thing for the good place to allow you to acquire, but porn, she mentions in one episode...
Well, they're being rewarded.
That's true.
They're being rewarded for being good people.
But I imagine that you get negative points for watching porn.
Well, you don't get points anymore once you're...
That's true.
In the afterlife, remember.
I would just think
very important.
I would think that anything that would get you negative points would not be in the good place, but I don't know.
So, from here on out, we gonna be spoiling stuff.
Yes,
because this show... Another thing I like about it is that as soon as you think you have a status quo of what's happening, it turns the tables on you.
Yes. For a sitcom, it is incredibly serialized. And there are a lot of plot twists.
Yes.
So we would not get far in this podcast if we didn't spoil anything that happens.
Okay, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Jean Yu is not Jean Yu. His name is Jason Mendoza.
Yes.
He's a Florida dirtbag.
Yes, he sells drugs. He tries to be a DJ.
Which is very stupid.
He tries to sell drugs. Yes, he's very dumb.
He's not as much evil as he is just super dumb.
Yes. just for context, he died. He was trying to rob a bank so he could get money to go to Tampa with him and his buddy Bill Boy. But they're both idiots, and like their theory was they're gonna install their plan was they're gonna go to a restaurant and they're gonna install a fake safe, and then Jason's gonna come out of the safe, steal the money, and then they'll come and take the safe out. This immediately fails, but the important part here is that when they put Jason in the safe, they didn't consider the fact that you need air holes.
Yeah.
So he died in the safe.
Yeah. So he thinks there's a mistake with him, too, and that he shouldn't be in the good place. And guess what? It turns out they in the bad place.
Well, that was a big jump there. But yes, as it turns out, Michael is actually a bad place demon. And he had this bright idea that for a new way of torturing people, of like, if I just put a bunch of bad humans together in one place, they will just annoy each other for all of eternity. They will do all the work. I don't have to do anything.
I'm no Sartre expert, but I do remember in high school French, we read Sartre's play No Exit, which posits hell as other people in that same exact thing where it's a bunch of assholes together in a room in hell forever, and that is their torture.
I'm pretty sure I remember that from high school too. And yeah, so I bet, and you're like, well, is it just Eleanor and Jason who are in the bad place? No! Tahani and Chidi are too. And
so let's explain all of their characters and how they died. So Eleanor Shellstrop, she is a trashy person from Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes.
Arizona trash.
Absolutely. She's a selfish, self-absorbed person. And they give her backstory. It's actually kind of sad because
but she sells pills to people that don't work, and
she sells crappy medicine to old people, knowing full well that what she's selling is a scam.
She made her friend a meme.
Yep. So she is a horrible person, and she died getting run over by.
No, what happened was she dropped a bottle of
Lonely Girl
of margarita mix.
Yep.
Rolling through a parking lot, then she got hit by a thing of shopping carts into a truck carrying a stripper billboard, I think it was.
No, I thought it was
erectile dysfunction.
Erectile dysfunction pills.
Yes.
That's how she dies. Chidi Aragonye.
He is there. Because moral philosophy people are the worst.
Yes, but also the show makes a big emphasis once they make the reveal about how the good place works that your actions are important as well as your motivations for why you do good. And Chidi fails big time in the actions because he's a moral philosophy professor, so he obviously means well. But he's a very indecisive person.
Yeah.
Every single decision he makes,
he
thinks
indecisive.
Is this grand moral argument.
You could argue that some of it goes back to his moral philosophy background, but you can see from a clip of him when he was little having to pick out a team in school that he was always terrible.
And he makes everyone around him miserable because of this. And he dies because he can't decide what bar to go to with a friend, and because he's standing out on the street corner being indecisive, an air conditioner falls out of a window and just crushes him.
Yeah. For further emphasis on how indecisive he is, it took him 82 minutes to pick a hat that was either be gray or brown. He couldn't decide.
Yes. We'll probably explain the context of that later.
Yeah. And then Tahani, who is obviously there not because she's annoying in the fact that she's always name dropping and talking about how great her life is.
Yes, she's very vain and shallow. That's obvious from the first time you meet her.
Thinks about her, but she was never really loved by her parents because she had a much cooler sister. Can
we talk about Camilla instead?
Younger or older?
I think it might be older.
Yeah. Camilla.
Yeah, can we talk about Camilla, though?
Yeah, so she's a Nobel Prize winner, and she has a best-selling album, and she's an artist and all of this. And Tahani is driven so mad by this that she sneaks into her sister's. It was a party for something, right?
Yeah, Camilla was being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I forget.
And Tahani was not invited. She had to
No.
sneak in dressed as a waitress.
Yeah.
As a domestic. And in anger tried to knock down a giant golden statue of Camilla, which squished her.
Yes, and the thing about Tahani, besides just the fact that she's super vain, is that she is a person who raised literally billions of dollars for charity. So you might think like, oh, she should be in the good place, like even despite her vain personality, because that's a lot of money for charity. She did a lot of good work on Earth. But her motivation for doing that was to one-up her sister and to get her parents' attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so, by the good, bad places standards, none of that counted.
Yeah.
Because she had a very selfish motivation for doing all the good work that she did on Earth.
Right. So how did you get into this show?
This is kind of weird. And it's funny because the big selling point for the show is that Ted Danson... Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Ted Danson and Kristen Bell. But I don't watch Cheers. So I've never watched Cheers, so I didn't really get the draw of like, ooh, Ted Danson's on a sitcom again, didn't get me. And for Kristen Bell, I never watched Veronica Mars either.
Mm-hmm.
So all I really knew her from was like, oh, she's Anna in Frozen.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that appeal either.
No, I was in the same boat as you. It wasn't Ted Danson and Kristen Bell that brought me in either, but keep going.
Yeah, and I remember being on Hulu and seeing, like, the preview for it, and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, but then I never watched it. And then, for some reason, I was motivated to put it on last year when it got on Netflix, and I just basically binged the whole thing because the show runs a very tight ship of 13 half-hour episodes.
The British way.
Yeah. So, it didn't take very long to watch the whole thing, but I was, like, immediately hooked.
Mm-hmm. So, the way I got into it... Pretty simple. I'm a giant Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan, and so I was reading some Brooklyn Nine-Nine reviews, and every now and again the writer would mention something about, you can tell the skill that he also used on The Good Place, and at one point he mentioned, giant twists at the end of The Good Place, and I was like, it's a sitcom, like, how much of a twist can it be? I need to check this out for myself, and I loved it.
Yeah. Fun fact is that before I watch this show, and still I sort of do, I'll be honest, sometimes in my head I mix up Kristen Bell and Hayden Panettiere.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I kind of think it's the same person a lot.
Yeah. It's also kind of odd seeing Kristen Bell play such a dirtbag sometimes.
Yes.
Because she's...
Especially because all I knew her from was Anna.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's go into some of the details about this show. So, the comedians and, the writers obviously put a lot of work into this. When you go into the quote-unquote good place, at first, there's frozen yogurt shops all over the place.
Which should be your first sign that this is maybe not as good as it appears, because they openly talk about how, frozen yogurt is something that seems like it's something that good people is good for you, but it's not
but
really.
It makes you kind of sad. It bums you out a bit.
There's actually a lot of foreshadowing to the fact that they're not
Oh,
in
yeah,
the good
if you
place.
look through it, and then you're just like, Chudi seems kind of annoying. Why is he, why are Janet and Michael pushing him to choose something to do when it obviously makes him uncomfortable?
Yeah. Even though I always just, ignored it because they seemed like good people.
Yeah.
Same
Although
with
Janet
Tahani.
is purely nice.
Yes.
Because she is a good place Janet.
Yes, as we learned, there's a good place Janet and there's
bad
bad place Janet. And bad place Janet
I love bad place Janet.
Yeah, she's basically like good place Janet, except she never does what you ask her to.
She's really
and
ineffective. She's always on a phone.
Yep. She's always just like, you fat
She
dink.
loves calling people fat dinks. And if they try to be good, they melt.
Yeah, they can't handle trying to be different. So what happens is Michael literally went to the good place, the good Janet warehouse.
It's in a void. It's in a neutral void over by accounting.
And he just steals a good place Janet, and so he's just using a stolen Janet so he can keep the appearance up that, you're in the good place.
Yeah. Because if you have a bad Janet pretending to be a good Janet...
It will fail.
Yeah. One of my favorite... Maybe I can just play it because, okay, Bad Janet tries to be good.
Yeah. Another hint that the good place is not the bad place, and this is something I definitely did not notice when I started the show, is that they always present Tahani and Chidi as good people from the good place, but throughout the show you get flashbacks of all 4 main characters, and you never get flashbacks of them doing anything good.
Mm-hmm.
It's always their worst moments in life, and when they die.
Hard for people. Let's see if we can...
Favorite flavor is...
Okay.
Say, Janet,
Okay.
where can I get some delicious ice cream?
Oh, there's a wonderful parlor in the middle of town square. My favorite flavor is Rocky Road. It contains chocolate ribbon, marshmallows, and your dad's salty nuts, you fat dink!
Yeah, so...
Right, yeah. So bad Janets do not work well as good Janets, and it does not work well the other way either. There's an episode where good Janet tries to be a bad Janet, and she struggles a lot to be mean.
Yeah, I like when Janets need to be rebooted or, restarted. They can't feel pain because they're not people.
Right.
But she has a failsafe where... when you try to reach for her button, she will beg for her life in increasingly desperate ways.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you back away, she'll go, again, I am not a real person.
And in fact,
it's a failsafe.
I was lying.
Yeah.
Like, one time she pulls out a picture of 3
I
kids.
have kids, Eleanor!
I have
beautiful kids!
And it's just beautiful picture, and then you back away, she's like, I am not a real person. These are not my kids. This is a stock photo from the
kids.
from
I can find that for you
Kids' Choice
too,
Awards.
because I don't do Darcy Carden's delivery justice.
You're right. Or there's one where she says she has tickets to Hamilton.
And Daveed Diggs.
With Daveed Diggs returning to reprise his role.
Yeah.
Built to make.
Okay.
Your life easier.
Your pleading seems so real.
Oh yes, it is a very effective failsafe. You want a robot killed right? You have to do it yourself. Eleanor? No, please, wait. Eleanor, I have kids. I have 3 beautiful children. Tyler, Emma, and little tiny baby Philip. Look at Tyler. Tyler has asthma, but he is battling it like a champ. Look at him. No, Eleanor, look at them. Look at them! Not so realistic! Eleanor, again, I'm not human. This is a stock photo of the crowd at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards.
Good stuff.
Yes, very good stuff.
So, Janet falls in love with Jason during the show. The idiot Jason.
It feels more like Jason falls in love with
Janet.
her, and then she
cannot feel love
eventually.
Once she's rebooted so many times that she needs to, that she evolves basically.
Yes. Which that's another point here is that at the end of season 1, Eleanor comes to the realization that they are in fact not in the good place, and then Michael's like, "Well, dang." And then he explains it all, and then he resets. So everything that happened in the first season is gone. Mm-hmm. He resets everything to when they first came to the good place. He's going to try again. Mm-hmm. And
within the first couple episodes, they go through hundreds of reboots, unbeknownst to them.
Yeah. And that brings up the point that the show moves very quickly.
Yes.
It goes through, the first big plot twist is, I think, John Yu being Jason. Mm-hmm. But the first thing that happened that I was like, oh, that happened way quicker than I thought it would, was Eleanor admitting that she doesn't belong in the good place. There was a mistake. Immediately. She does that. I expected that to be a season 1 finale thing, and the entire first season would be her pretending to be a good person or learning how to and staying in there. But no, she reveals this at the end of episode 7.
Yeah.
And...
well, I think it's because they know that there's something really annoying about that liar revealed plot, because everyone knows what's going to happen, and it's just like, okay, come on. Like, we know they're going to forgive each other.
Yeah. And I thought season 2 would be a lot more of, like, the second attempt, maybe third of the show. But no, they burn through. They spend one episode in attempt number 2 before they figure it out again.
Yeah. But
and then
Michael has a boss, Sean.
Sean, yes.
Sean. And Sean was not in love with the idea at first of making a bad place, good place. And so he's, on Michael's ass and is like, if this fails again, then you're going to be retired. And what is retirement, Austin?
Retirement is... They don't really talk about what exactly it is, but it's basically just non-existing for
No, I thought
demons.
it was like, okay.
It's basically their form of going to the bad
retirement,
place.
the good place.
I don't remember them explaining what the retirement is.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
For a being like me, retirement is not something fun. What is retirement for you, exactly? Well, I wasn't going to share this so as not to upset you, but it's an extreme form of punishment. We call it the eternal shriek. My soul will be disintegrated, and each molecule will be placed on the surface of a different burning sun. And then my essence will be scooped out of my body in a flaming ladle and poured over hot diamonds.
Retirements aren't lovely.
They're not. And then what's left of my body will be endlessly beaten with a titanium rod, like a
Pinata.
yes. Except you have the string around my waist, but instead it will definitely be around my genitals. What? I'm sorry, we need to cancel this party immediately.
Ted Danson is so great.
Yes. So, retirement, very bad. And after attempt number 2 fails spectacularly, in part because they managed to make it even... The funny thing about these first couple of episodes and looking through it is that, like, Michael doesn't really learn what went wrong the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he makes the fake good place even more miserable.
Yeah.
And so they just even quicker find out, like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, they change the foods every time. So here's a list of some of the unused ones from different food types. So for pasta, oh, by the way, all of the different restaurants that serve the same thing have different names.
Yes.
So you have al dente on the Western Front. Penne for your thoughts. Pasta expiration date. Pasta test. Ramen on empty. Okay. Ramen with scissors. Return of the Mac and cheese. I'm neo-kidding around. The pesto's yet to come. ZD Lights. ZD of Stars. Willy Lo Mein. Spetzel Needs. J. Paul Spaghetti. Kara Gnocchi. You do the honey gnocchi and you eat yourself some... You do the hokey gnocchi and you eat yourself some foods. Lasagna come out tomorrow. Udon own me. Linguini Manuel Miranda. The apple doesn't farfelli from the tree. For pastry, you got cake cod, cake carnaveral, donuts? Donut?
Donut, you want me, baby.
Donut make my brown eyes blue. Cruller intentions. The fertile croissant. Eclair and present danger. Philo and Otis. Philo Yiannopoulos. Macaroni Mara. Pie another day. Pie hard. Pie Antwood. Strudel the fence. The strudel is real. Goofus and galette. Puff piece. Try puff pastry. Quiche from a rose. Knish from a rose. Beignet and the Jets. Muffin but net. Biscotti Pippin. Biscotti and meatballs. Bunt in the oven. And I saw a putty tat. Would you like to do the corn ones?
Let's see if I can pronounce these. Polenta to go around. Kiss my grits. Then eat them. The Maze Runner. The Maze from Westworld. Corn, you dig it? Thai corn on the cob. Grand Coronation. Suffer and Succotash. Imperfect Hominy. Hominy Corrine. Colonel Sanders.
We got sushi. Do you want to do sushi also?
Yeah. So sushi, ugh, tamago never dies. Row, row, row your boat. Take my tempura, sure. Tuna piano, rice to meet you. For goodness sake, misogyny, salmon bowl lecture, seaweed rabbit, chopsticks are for kids. The ketchup in the rice. The ketchup in the rice. Ponzo scheme.
Bread, toast of the town, toast the rainbow. Loaf of my life, second to none. Pita pan, wheat ciabatta zoo. Brioche with death, paint brioche. Crouton, a hot tin roof. Massachusetts, a place you can sit and eat matzo.
Massachusetts.
They didn't spell matzo right, but I imagine that people who aren't Jewish would look at that and say, "What's a matzo? I don't understand."
What's the matzo with you?
White baguette fences. Last but not yeast. Yeast infects yum. Focaccia red-handed and bread pit. Do you want to do poultry?
Yeah, okay, let's go. Squab goals. Chicken of the sea of the land. Chicken. Hot pie the sailor man. Wings martinel. Hot, I don't know how to pronounce that
Hot
one.
coq au vin.
Ah, yes. Ralph Lauren polo.
Pollo, I think.
Pollo,
It'd be,
yeah,
it'd be
right.
like a polo,
Right.
but it's
Water
chicken.
pollo duck. Duck, duck, goose. Party fowl. A bird in the hand is worth two in your mouth. Nice. A view to a quail. Quail yourself. I can be your feather figure. Chicken Corbin blue. Piccata good recipe from the cookbook.
By the way, I thought of that Corbin Blue thing before because it was when I was really into Food Network, and it was also around when High School Musical was big. And
Right,
I was
so
like,
it's
"Oh my
like-
god, it sounds like Cordon,
It's like
Cordon
cordon bleu, but
oh my
it's
god, it's so
Corbin!
funny." Yeah. Anyway, cheese forever in blue cheese. Provolone again naturally. Fondue diligence. Brie larceny. Colby maybe. Good enough. Cheddar off dead. Cheddar off Ted. A queso the Mondays. Richard Gruyere. Camembert, let's go. Camembert, let's go party. A game of cheese. Why I ricotta. And then there's one shrimp when they didn't use Lady and the Scampi. Let
Yes.
me look if there are other.
I'm pretty sure the writers spend half the time of this show just coming up with food
Oh,
puns.
absolutely.
Especially for this episode when they decided to just go to 800 different attempts at the good place.
Mm-hmm.
Which also, there's some hardcore ship teasing in this episode. Because you see, another one of Michael's ideas is I'm just going to switch around who Eleanor has as her soulmate. Because clearly the Cheaty doesn't work. And a few times he tries Jason. One time he tries a dog. And one time he tries Tahani.
Mm-hmm.
Which Eleanor is canonically attracted to.
I hope they go on it. I want to see that happen.
Yeah, I want to see, let's go, Polly O'Golly.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the best rhyme I could come up with for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Eleanor has stated in the show to be attracted to Cheaty and Tahani at different points.
So, as much as that would be nice to happen, Cheaty would never go for it. Because,
Can you imagine?
two...
Whoa, he'd never be able to handle it.
No way. Oh, that's another thing they did to him, I guess, in
Yes, they
in the
gave
Fake
him
Good Place. They
two
gave him,
soulmates in here.
3.
Oh,
They gave
yeah.
him 3 possible because his soulmate,
Mhm.
quote unquote, is Eleanor. Him and Tahani are kind of similar, so they do it with that. And then, quote unquote, real Eleanor comes to the Good Place and is a lot closer to
Yeah, so after Eleanor's like, I don't belong here, they weave the tale that they've had the real Eleanor in the bad place, and she is, like, as good of a humanitarian as they always pretended Eleanor, the fake Eleanor, was. And so then they bring her in, and she hits it off with Cheaty right away, because they're both really similar people.
Yeah. There's another reboot where all the foods are on a stick, which includes steak on a stick, bagel on a stick, caviar on a stick, hot dog on a stick, extra sticks. Yeah.
I think we covered the other ones. Also, there's also a world where you
Couple
ate
sushi
nothing but
ones.
chowder.
Oh, yeah, clam chowder. There's a chowder fountain. It's super gross.
Which comes back to my point that like, a lot of the reboots, Michael does not learn.
Yeah, he was getting really desperate, and at one point, Jason found out.
Yeah. Like, he was not good at not letting them in on the fact that they're in the bad place.
Oh, and eventually in season 2, it's like the second or third episode, he decides to team up with them to try to pretend like it's going out well, so that way he doesn't get retired and they don't get in trouble.
Right, and so a lot of season 2 is Michael learning how to be a good person, how to be a human, let alone a good one.
Mm-hmm. And they become friends. I'm a big fan of when Michael, he gets sort of an existential crisis. He says, birth is a curse and existence is pain, and boy, if that ain't me.
Dude, fills all my teen angst.
Yeah, and he dresses Janet up as a sexy secretary Jeanette.
Yeah.
Drives a sports car, gets earrings.
He goes full midlife crisis on it.
Yeah. And at one point in that new reboot, Tahani and Jason actually do fall in love, and Janet is not happy about it.
Yeah, we learned that Janet has retained in some part of her programming that her love for Jason, and the whole neighborhood starts falling apart because she tries to lie about how much she is totally okay with Tahani and Jason being a happy couple.
A frog comes out of her mouth at one point. I'm so happy for you, rat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Janet goes to Eleanor and is like, what do I do? And she's like, girl, you need a rebound, as Eleanor would suggest. So she creates a person, which shouldn't be possible.
Nope.
His name is Derek. I can't explain Derek either, so I need...
He's a interesting character.
Please, Derek. Played by Jason Mantzoukas.
Hi there.
Hello! Janet, who's that man?
This is my new rebound boyfriend, Derek. I made him.
Hi, I'm Derek. You must be Mike. Ah, okay. That makes more sense. You must be Michael. Janet's made a lot of talk into my ear holes about you. Michael, Clyco.
Janet, you can't make a person.
I know, but I did, though. Eleanor said that to forget about Jason, I should create a rebound guy.
Derek.
So I made one. Derek.
I'm her boyfriend and she made me.
He's so nice.
Whoa! Look at this glass! Oh my god! I'm in there too? What's going on right now?
It's my first time making someone, so he might be a little bit off.
Look, this could be... No, please put that down. This could be very dangerous. It shouldn't even be possible.
Well, maybe not 800 reboots ago, but apparently now it is.
Can you believe this?
Derek, is it Derek?
It's Derek.
Derek, could you please
Derek.
give me and Janet a moment alone?
Go back to the void, babe. I'll be there in a minute.
Okay, I'll miss you like crazy.
I'll miss you more.
No, I'll miss you more. Bye!
What a dork, am I right?
Jason,
Yeah, that's Derek.
Maximum Derek!
Maximum Derek. Also, he is quick to point out that he does not have genitals.
It's wind chimes.
It is wind chimes.
It is wind chimes. Yes. Because I don't think Janet's can have sex, really. They can't eat. She said that when she's updated, she gets a piece of cake and then rubs it around her mouth hole.
Yeah. Also, where is Derek? He's currently in the show in the medium place, which we should talk about that.
Yeah, so Mindy St. Clair was a corporate lawyer in the 80s.
The shittiest kind. The shirtiest kind.
The shoulder pattiest kind.
You see, in this show, you can't curse. It's a good place rule, as it were. So they can say all the curse words they want on network TV.
Which I feel like is another part of the torture, maybe, because
Except I would
Janet,
believe that's a possible
that's
thing.
probably possible, but, like, especially, though, for Eleanor, that would be something.
So they can drop all the F-bombs they want. They just have to say fork.
Mm-hmm.
And shit is shirt. Bitch is bench.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of ass, it's ash.
Yeah. Great.
But yes, back to Minnie St. Clair.
Yes. Minnie St. Clair. So, she did a bunch of terrible things in her life, but one time when she was really high on cocaine, and she loves cocaine,
it's his addiction.
She loves cocaine. She came up with the idea of a relief fund that would help people all over the world, and on her way to go to the bank, she took out her life savings, and on her way to do it, she fell into a subway platform and got electrocuted by the third rail. But her sister found her plans and went and carried them out. So she helped millions of people, but she did a lot of terrible things in her life. So the good place and the bad place sort of couldn't decide.
They're like, what are we going to do with her?
So they made a medium place for her, where she got a bunch of requests from the good place, and the bad place kind of made them.
Yes.
Bad.
So
do you remember what they are?
I remember a few of them. For example, she has a jukebox that has every song ever made by the Eagles and the live versions only.
Yeah. She has her favorite beer, but it's always warm.
She has... The only movie she has is Cannonball Run 2 and the making of Cannonball Run 2.
She just sort of lives in a house out in the middle of nowhere. She usually just walks around naked because there's no one around.
Yeah. She talks about how she masturbates a lot.
Yeah, she misses cocaine so much.
Yes. Every time they visit the medium place multiple times throughout the series. And every time she's like, dude, did you bring my cocaine?
Like, no.
And no, they do not ever.
I think Minnie St. Clair at one point says about the third rail electrocution, I always thought I'd be killed by a rail, but I didn't think it'd be that one. Something like that.
Yes. Or like a line or something like that.
It was a rail because it was the third rail.
Right. I haven't seen a death from a person who... That's the last time I saw a death that horrible, like, from someone who just became a good person. I was in God's Not Dead.
That could be a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
it's those victim complex Christian movies.
No, the best part... Yeah, the end is where the
atheist
professor
gets hit by a car,
right after he's like, I believe in God again.
And instead of saving him, the priests are like, did you find Jesus? Our work here is done. A miracle has happened. And it's like, you can call an ambulance, you monsters.
Weird. That's a whole other topic we should have at some point.
A whole other day we can talk about. Oh, man.
Where Sabrina the Teenage Witch is a devout Christian character.
Oh, my God.
Whatever, back to the good place.
There's a third one coming out, I think.
Yes.
They're money makers.
Jesus Christ.
There's nothing evangelical Christians love more than feeling like they're persecuted, even though they're not.
Can confirm. But anyway, back to the good place.
I got caught on that. Are any of them really religious? They mentioned that
no, I don't think so.
All religions got part of the heaven
about
system,
5%.
Right? But only one person has ever gotten 97% close.
Doug Forsett, a stoner in Canada who just got really high once.
and guessed it. So his portrait is up all around the good and bad place.
Yeah.
He's a celebrated figure, Doug Forsett.
Yes. And I assume that's true. A lot of what Michael says in the first season, I question because, they're actually in the bad place.
Yeah.
And one of those is the moral system that the claim that, Florence Nightingale's not there, only one president has ever made it. That I question because they established really early on that Eleanor is really insecure about people who are better than her.
Yeah.
So in my mind, making her think that she's taking the spot of someone that good just freaks her out more.
Yeah. Plus, it probably makes Tahani even more, uppity at that point.
Oh, she doesn't need help to be uppity.
She really does not need any help. Jason just sort of does his own thing, really.
Yeah.
Go Jaguars.
Go Jaguars!
He's from Jacksonville.
And his favorite he cheers for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Always talking about Blake Bortles.
Greatest quarterback of all time. Blake Bortles.
They make a lot of Jaguars jokes. They actually sent him to the playoffs where the Jaguars were.
Yeah.
The actor.
And it's funny because historically the Jaguars are awful, so that's a lot of the jokes on the show. But this year, actually, they were really good.
What was it that he said that they need to do to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, so while Michael is pretending to be part of the bad people, he has a roast of the 4 people, of the 4 humans, and he makes a joke about how bad the Jaguars are, and then Jason's like, all we need is an offense, a defense, and some rule changes to be good.
Which, as a Bengals fan, can confirm. Yeah.
Oh, we should mention where the show is right now, because we've gone
Yes.
through most of the plot
Yes.
up to right
Yes.
the end of
So-
season 2.
They escaped the good bad place, and they went to corporate. They went to the bad place to try to sneak through a portal to seek the eternal judge to see if they could get into the good place.
The judge.
The judge, played by Maya Rudolph.
Yes. So happy.
She's great. But first they accidentally encounter a soiree of sorts in the Bad Place Museum of Low Grade Crappiness.
Yep, it is. I forget some of the things they
I can look it up.
like when
Their
we talk about
displays
low
of,
grade
like,
crappiness, like you're not kidding.
Crappiness. There's stuff on there that I'm like, yeah. Well, I know one of them was flossing in an open plan office.
Yeah, they memorialize these people.
There's the first person to send an unsolicited picture of their genitals.
Yep.
And I hate this one, so I totally get why it would be in there. The first waiter to go to a customer with an empty plate and sarcastically say, "I guess you hated it." Like, shut up! I didn't come here for your comedy.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
So, yes, waiter who did that for the first time, you deserve to be immortalized in the bad place.
Yes.
There's the first white guy to wear dreadlocks, who is simultaneously the first person to call Ultimate Frisbee ultimate.
Yep.
What's another one in there? Is there another one? Well, the 4 of them are about to be immortalized.
That's what the party's for, and they don't know that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But though that's also where we learn about the Department of Toxic Masculinity,
Yeah.
who
is led by Dax Shepard, Kristen Bell's husband.
Huh.
Yes. And they mistake Chidi for one of them.
Which, Chidi, being the ethics professor that he is, freaks out about trying to lie his way through this situation.
Yeah, and so they need his help to sort of figure out. There's a guy who was kicked off of Gronk's party boat for throwing a lobster at a stripper, if I believe.
Yeah, that might be it.
And then died doing a keg stand on a moving truck?
Yeah, and so they can't figure out how to torture this guy.
And so Chidi has the perfect torture, which is books, baby!
Yep. Just make him read books, which I agreed with. That's a great torture.
Yeah, especially if you're, associated with Rob Gronkowski. Reading is probably
You're right, yeah.
something you
like
do.
that guy.
Or the Patriots. Sorry, Patriots fans.
It's fine. You just lost the Super Bowl.
Are you a Browns fan?
No. I'm not a pro football fan at all.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I guess you're from, the Dayton area, right? So.
Nah, not that. I'm from southeastern Ohio, so there's not really a pro football team near me in any way. But I am strictly college football.
College football, yeah. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. Back to our topic on hand. They escape the bad place, and they just narrowly make it to the judge. And initially she's like, nah, not going to review your case. You're still all horrible people.
Yeah.
But then
still kind of are. They're still...
Yeah, we're about to get to that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So she tests them in different ways to test how far they have come and whether they deserve to get moved to the good place.
Yes. So you get Eleanor, who is supposedly testing with Chidi, where they both are told they have passed and that they can go to the good place, but not with the other 2.
And I appreciate that Eleanor immediately knew this was some bullshit.
Yes, because it was not the real Chidi, and it was a test. She is the only one who passes.
Yes, and the reason she picks up on it, and this is significant to her character development, is like in the first episode, she can't even remember Chidi Anagonye's name, she can't remember where he's from, she can't remember what he does, and the point is how self-centered she is. And in this episode, she is attentive enough, she is proven to be attentive enough to who Chidi is to learn about him as a person, that when fake Chidi's like, forget about ethics for a moment, let's talk about you and me, she's like, nope, this is false.
Yeah, because he would never forget about ethics to an obnoxious degree.
Which is the problem that Chidi faces in his test, where his test is literally just pick a hat.
Pick a hat.
And he spends 82 minutes on this because Chidi has faced the least character development of any character in the show.
Because he's been the teacher, basically.
Yeah,
he's been teaching everyone ethics, which, you know, it's the classic thing of the teacher does not, or, I don't know, does the teacher learn as much as the student?
I think that's what they're trying to tell us, is that as the teacher, he doesn't learn much. Like, he still doesn't even understand why he's in the bad place. Like, everyone else, like, Tahani,
they get it.
Tahani, Eleanor, and Jason, they get it.
Well, Jason gets it
to the most,
as Jason
can get it. But, like, when every time Chidi is confronted with, like, you're in the bad place, he's like, oh, shirt. It's because I drink almond milk, isn't it? And it's like, no. It's because you can't make
because you're the worst.
Every single decision you make, you treat as, like, this grand ethical question.
Yeah.
And that's why you make everyone miserable for it. And
also, he definitely chose the wrong hat, because the gray worked with his outfit much better than the brown one did.
I agree. So he fails miserably. And then Jason,
he was like, why was it the wrong hat? Was it about a choice? He's like, you took 82 minutes.
Yeah, and I hope the judge is the one that gets through to Chidi on this one.
Yeah.
But
I like Jason's test.
Jason's test was, supposedly, that she presents him with Madden NFL 18, but he has to play against the Jaguars.
As the
Tennessee Titans, the greatest rivals of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he immediately recognizes this as a test, and he ends up beating the Jaguars.
He does it anyway.
But he fails because it was supposed to be impulse control, because he doesn't have any. And he was supposed to act like the way to win was him acknowledging that he doesn't have to play at all and choosing not to play the game.
Yeah, but he did anyway.
But that also shows good character growth for him, that he was that willing. He was so loyal to his friends that he was willing to play against the Jaguars. Mm-hmm. And then Tahani's, I have the most strong feelings.
I love Tahani's. So for Tahani's, she had to walk from one end of a hallway to another, except in the hallway there were doors, and behind every door was people that she knew discussing what they actually thought about her. Mm-hmm. Like Quvonjane Wallace and
Stephen Hawking?
Stephen Hawking. They apparently made up after their fight. Talking.
Yeah, and as the hallway goes on, it gets more and more personal for her. Like, it starts out with, like, her, like, the maids at her house. Mm-hmm. And then by the end, it's, like, her sister and her parents.
Yeah.
And
she fails because
she enters her parents' room. But the part that I don't like that they failed her for this is because what she does in the room is she still asks about it. Mm-hmm. About her, and then her parents still find a way to talk about Camilla instead of her. Yeah. And then she's like, why should I care what you think of me? You clearly don't care.
She finally confronts them.
She gets it, that, like, her parents' approval is never coming, so she shouldn't care.
Yeah. But I think that's another point about it. The tests and the whole good place, bad place judging system is flawed, as Michael points out.
Yeah.
Because they never took into account when creating the system if people could change in the afterlife. Even
Michael doesn't really consider it when he first makes the test.
Yeah, eventually Michael is trying to make the argument that they may have, been bad people in life, but, they can improve if they're still existing after they're dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they fail, and in fact, and earlier Eleanor had made the swear that, like, she will not go to the bad place, the good place, I mean.
If the others
don't make it. So it's basically all of them make it or none of them do. But Michael and Janet come, and Michael comes to plead their case, and then that leads into what happens in the season 2 finale.
Yes, which is they are put into simulations of what their life would have been had they survived the last second.
Probably.
I'm
100% confident that this is how this is set up, but there are a lot of people online who have the idea that they were literally brought back to life.
No, because they were in those little bell things, right?
I I don't remember their like
because they wouldn't have gone back in time. I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can.
Yeah,
I
don't think that's either. And also
they've probably been in the afterlife for like hundreds of years with those many reboots.
Absolutely. But anyway, they're in a simulation of their life, and the entire season 2 finale is Eleanor. Is Eleanor's
and at one point
rebirth.
Ted Danson comes in as a bartender, and I'm like, oh, it's like Cheers.
Yeah, it is. But we should bring up how we get to that point. Is Eleanor, she survives. She is successfully pushed out of the way of the shopping carts, so she doesn't get run into.
She dropped her Lonely Girl Margarita mix at first because she was distracted by an environmentalist activist who was like, would you want to talk about the environment?
And then she unnecessarily
she was like, eat my
fun.
Farts!
Yeah,
and then
basically.
Dropped it.
So she survives the incident at the shopping mall, and then she kind of has the epiphany of like, wow, my life is garbage.
Yeah.
I am a garbage person. And so she cuts out the negative people in her life.
She joins the environmentalists.
And for about 6 months, it works really well.
Becomes a vegetarian, goes sober.
Yeah. But, and this comes back to the show's point that it's not easy to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, in her life, it works, but, like, the environmentalists don't pay well. At least not as much as her job selling fake medication.
Mm-hmm.
So...
being honest with her friends causes them to, never talk to her again, basically. Well,
right. The one that owns their apartment.
Yeah, she's like... Yeah,
so she has to move out, and her life is crap. And she gets disheartened because, as an environmentalist activist, not a whole lot of people actually care what you're talking about. And so she falls back into her bad habits.
And then she eventually goes back to not the same workplace because they were shut down by
by the government.
By the government.
And then the guy makes an entirely different scheme.
It's a pyramid scheme, right?
I think the new one's a pyramid scheme.
The new one is a pyramid scheme.
And he says it's okay because he can't be arrested under witness protection.
Oh, he's great.
So she gets disheartened and she's about to fail again, and so she goes to a bar to get drunk
on her birthday.
And Michael intervenes and encourages her to go
to
do it again.
Yeah.
To go back. And fun little like callbacks is he talks about what we owe to each other, which is a philosophy book. And at the end of season 1, in an attempt to try to remind herself that the bad place is not the good place, in the next reboot, she rips out a piece of paper out of the book What We Owe to Each Other, and writes a note, find Chidi,
and puts it in Janet's mouth because she can't eat.
Right. So when she reboots, Janet's just going to have that piece of paper in her mouth because she can't swallow it. And then at the end of season 2, Ted Danson gives her the what we owe to each other, and she's like, I'm going to look into what that is, and she finds YouTube lectures from Chidi on this exact subject.
And then she goes to Australia, where he's a professor, and goes, "It's you I need to talk to, right?" He calls him Chidi and a Kendrick. I mean, in the first season, she called him Chidi, she called him. Ariana Grande or something?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
And
also, I knew she was in the bad place because the original Eleanor went to University of Michigan, so...
Ouch! Yeah.
Suck it, Wolverines.
Yo! Anyway, so season 3... At least some of it, and that's we touched on it. The show moves at a pace that I cannot predict in any way.
So we could say that it's going to mostly take place and what their real lives would have been, but I don't know, because I don't think they would waste Ted Danson and Dorothy Carden like that to just have them sit there at that table the whole time.
Yeah, their role in this part is that they are sitting there at a table reading a ticker tape of presumably their good bad points.
Yes.
And so presumably they're not going to spend too much time on this.
Yeah. Though I will say, since Michael goes in to help Eleanor, there are some people who think that Janet's going to go in and help Jason.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Because I think he's the one who's most going to need help.
Though I don't know who would help Tahani.
Probably still
She's probably
Janet.
beyond help, yeah.
I think she might figure it out on her own.
Because it took her so long to get over that with her parents, and that was what her whole life was about.
True. So, the thing about Eleanor is that she is undeniably a terrible person, but more than anyone else on the show, she is most self-aware of how bad she is.
Yeah,
She's
knows.
just very cynical and
she's
thinks,
the only one who knows.
who really gets it to begin with. Yeah, but it's just that she's very cynical, so she believes that being a good person isn't worth the time.
Yeah, the other ones are bad people, though they believe that they are good people. Mostly Chidi and Tahani. Jason is just sort of stupid. He doesn't really know. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He loves Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, man. When
what is it? Jason's my name. Molotov cocktails are my game.
Yep.
He says at the demon party.
And yet, that's funny. That's how they escape.
Yeah.
He makes a Molotov cocktail.
He throws one on some guy's boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not during the party, but in his real life.
In real life, he throws them on a guy's boat.
He said, when I had a problem, I threw a Molotov cocktail on it, and boom, another problem would come.
Yeah.
To create a different problem.
It's a different problem. It's fine. But, the beginning of Season 3 is probably going to be learning about how they all are adjusting to... Like, what are they doing post not dying?
I have no idea what Tahani would do, honestly, because it seemed like a climax of this, struggle she's been having with her sister her whole life.
Yeah, and I don't see where, like, I can see where Eleanor would get her, like, eureka moment from how she avoids dying. Mm-hmm. I don't see that from Tahani because
her whole experience of death was what woke her up to it, was realizing that there are other people who actually care about her. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anyone in her real life actually did.
No, and that's kind of the tragedy of Tahani, really, is that her life...
Everything about it is based on status and name, and they would only, I feel like those celebrities who she would hang out with would only hang out with her because of, the status she would have. Probably Camilla.
Or more like, connected to Camilla.
Connected to Camilla is probably the reason.
So I don't know. I'm curious how I think Chidi could get a eureka moment from how he died.
Maybe.
Like recognizing that, like, if he had learned to make a decision at all, then and there's a hint that he's already getting better because the YouTube series of his YouTube lecture that Eleanor watches of him is roughly 3 hours, and for comparison, at the beginning of the show, we learned that, like, Chidi's life work was this book on ethics and it's like supposed to be like a definitive look on ethics, and it is 3,600 pages.
Yes.
By comparison, most of the great philosophy books top out at around 200 pages.
Yeah.
And it is so long and boring and complicated that Michael, the immortal being, can't read through it all without getting bored. So the fact that he can talk about this book for only 3 hours seems like an improvement.
Though I would argue that it's still 3 hours long. He's not all the way there yet, definitely.
True, but I think he's getting better.
Do you think... I doubt that Jason has changed at all.
No, there's absolutely no way he learns. And that's why Janet's probably going to have to help him.
Yeah.
Get it.
Like, his impulse control's not there. It doesn't help that he's surrounded by people who are the same way. It doesn't help that he's Floridian, so a lot of them are like that.
Yes.
Sorry, Florida.
Yep.
They know.
And it's something the show kind of touches on, is that, like, Tahani, Eleanor, and Jason... like, while they still have to take responsibility for their own actions, all three of them in their real lives are surrounded by people that only reinforce their bad behavior.
Yes. Well, Chidi has people around him who are like, stop being so annoying about everything.
And he
That's how he
it.
dies, actually. One of his friends is like, I didn't want to have you in my wedding because you make everything so much harder for everyone around you.
Yeah,
so let's go to a bar. I'm going to see. Choose a bar for us, and then
he can't do
the
that.
Air conditioner falls on him.
Right.
But the others, like Eleanor is at a workplace that's it's a crime what they're doing.
Right. Her friends are arguably shittier people than she is.
Yes. They argue. What is it? She was supposed to dog sit or something. Or was she cat sitting?
She was dog sitting for a friend at work, and her friends like, I got tickets to Rihanna, let's go. And then
In Las Vegas. And they live in Phoenix.
Right. And so her solution is to just leave out the dog food for the dog to get to on its own, and then it becomes like so fat it's terminally ill.
Yeah. So, is that second or third degree murder?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But then Jason, his only friend is Pillboy.
Pillboy. No, but he has his dance crew.
And his dance crew. Okay, a running gag of the series is that he has these weird stories about his dance crew that are weirdly appropriate for whatever they're talking about. Like, like Chidi's teaching a lesson. Eventually, we've somehow not mentioned this throughout this podcast, that like a big part of the show is that Chidi, as the ethics professor, teaches Eleanor and eventually everyone else, once they all realize they're in the bad place, about ethics.
So they can try to be good and get to the good place.
Right. And he has a lesson about utilitarianism and the concept of doing whatever is for the greatest good possible. And Jason tells a story about like framing an innocent person for a crime for the sake of keeping his dance crew together and happy. So the happiness of the larger group outweighs the happiness of the one person. And Chidi's like, oh, wow, that's incredibly appropriate. I give it an 8 out of 13. Yes, Jason has a ranking system out of 13 where 8 is the highest.
Yes.
He's an interesting individual.
He loves jalapeno poppers, Jason.
That's his favorite food.
His favorite food.
And then we've talked about Tahani, like, her parents and her sister straight up neglect.
Oh, yeah.
And that has fueled her entire personality.
Always trying to one-up people and, like, impress them.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine she could have been a better person could have come out of her upbringing. One
of, like, the tortures she gets is that she's throwing a party, but there are these demons, disguised as real people, but they know that they're... And it's in season 2, so you understand. And they're throwing another party, but their party is bigger and better in comparison.
Yep, and she can't handle it.
Yeah. I'd say one of the funniest episodes, going back to your utilitarianism thing, is the trolley problem.
Oh, man.
Because I like how it sort of shoves Chidi's uppity, ethics thing in your face, back in his face. Because, so the trolley problem is basically, you're on a trolley, it's going to hit either one person or 5 people, on track.
The issue is that you're the conductor, and if you don't do anything, you're going to hit 5 people.
But if you
do something and you switch the track, you're going to kill 1.
So you could do nothing and be complicit in the death of 5 people,
or you could be
directly responsible for the death.
And the question is, what's the ethical decision?
Yes.
And Michael, he decides that the best way to solve this to work through this problem is a real demonstration.
Yes. They're not real people, but their pain is real.
Yeah, and the blood splatters all over them throughout every time he does
they put in different simulations. What if they put in 5 William Shakespeares versus 1 Santa Claus?
Yeah.
What if the one person is Chidi's friend from teaching in college? And, Chidi doesn't really learn anything. But that was kind of the point, because Michael's just kind of fucking with him when he did that.
Yep.
But it's still really funny.
And eventually he does a different problem with surgeries.
Oh, yeah. What is it? There are a bunch of sick people.
And he can save Eleanor, who he can save the 5 sick people.
No, it's one person. No, you can sacrifice Eleanor, who's healthy, or you can save the sick people. And he decides, no, I'm not going to do anything. And then one of their fake children comes up and is like, are you going to save my daddy?
Yeah, and then he's like, he was hit by a trolley.
He was hit by a trolley, yeah!
Which they imply that the 5 people that he refused to save were the same people he hit with the trolley.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the better episodes of this show.
All the Bad Place people are really funny. I like Sean. Let me try to find that quote that he had when he was talking about breaking the rules. The Good Place. I can't find it. YouTube, you basic.
Yeah, basic.
You're basic. That was devastating. You're devastated.
You're right. I'm just looking through the episodes trying to think of some good ones to, like... Oh, the second episode, Michael kicks a dog into the sun.
Yeah.
Should have been more of a hint.
Yeah.
But they played it for laughs.
Yeah. He's really convincing at being good because he's kind of affable, really. He's evil, but in a way that he really has fun with it. You know? Yep. Because if you really think about it, I always thought this about the concept of hell, and as a Jewish person, we don't have hell, so I was always like, why do you, think that the devil is such a bad thing when its entire job is to punish evil people? Shouldn't that be something that you appreciate?
I have thought of that as like,
How
bad are you really?
If you love law enforcement and stuff, shouldn't it be a similar thing with, demons and the devil? Their entire thing is to torture people who are bad throughout their entire lives. I don't know why they're the evil ones.
I suppose I'm coming at this from a Christian theology perspective.
Yeah.
I would say that the argument would be that, like, the devil actively tries to get people. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't just torture people, he actively tries to make them bad so he can. Mm. So it's like, it's kind of a dick move there.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But I like how the people who work for the bad place aren't necessarily bad people, they're mostly just assholes.
Yes.
Like Trevor. I love Trevor. He's in the first season, he didn't show up in the second season. I was kind of sad about that. Played by Adam Scott.
And it's my understanding that his character in Parks and Rec is not even close.
No, not remotely close. He's just a nice giant nerd in Parks and Rec.
Well, he's definitely not this in The Good Place.
No. Anything else interesting there?
I don't know if I want to read through all these descriptions to try to come up with a good. Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it.
Absolutely.
Though at this point, you're probably spoiled, so...
it's still worth watching.
Our descriptions aren't, spoily enough to... I mean, they're spoily, but it's really the experience that's the best part of it.
It's worth watching even after you know what's going on. Because then you can look back and be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was me, is looking back through the show and being like, oh, this is a lot more obvious than I thought it was.
And like we said, there's so much detail that goes into everything that you can just pause it at a certain point and catch stuff in the background or notice all of the hints that they drop throughout the whole series to the different things they're going to do.
Yeah. Oh, another freeze frame fun is that in a season 2 episode, they're testing Janet, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Yes, they are, because this is when Janet's like, I'm malfunctioning, help.
Kill me.
Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. That was Janet's solution to I'm malfunctioning.
I love Janet so much.
Yeah, no, when she was malfunctioning, she's like, you're just going to have to kill me.
Come on, Michael. Kill me.
Kill me. And so when they're testing whether Janet still operates properly, he's like, is like the random item generator. And she just has this big spin wheel of like combinations of items. I hope that you can find the clip of this.
Let me see.
And they're just super ridiculous items.
Janet, Good Place.
Janet, Good Place, cactus.
Yeah.
You should probably mention the cactus. But we'll get, as soon as we can see if we can find.
It's probably on Hulu, actually.
I don't think that episode's on Hulu anymore. Because Hulu only keeps 5 episodes.
Michael had a childhood pet. Do you remember what the childhood pet's name was?
Nope. I remember it was his password, but I don't remember what it was.
Look it up, Michael's
yeah. Pet. We're clearly well prepared for this.
Well,
I'm arguing that this show is very dense of content for a show that only has about 13 hours.
We would be better prepared if everything wasn't so detailed.
You're right. And it also doesn't help that only half the series is available for streaming right now. Oh, yes. Michael's pet, Korzov, the 10-headed dog spider.
Korzov, the 10-headed dog spider. He's so casual about it.
Yeah, no, he makes that, like, his password into the
Well, it's not his password, it's like a security question.
It's a security question. Which I guess is a normal security question, but... Michael and Janet's season 2, so...
Yeah.
Just made that Jackson connection.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure what it is... Let me see if I can... She generates a 14-ounce ostrich steak impaled on a giant novelty pencil that says, "Lordy, Lordy, I'm over 40.
Yep. And you can see some of the other fun things that can come from this random object generator.
Women XXX Bolton Wanderpants Sweatpants blended into a smoothie with pages 224 to 229 of David Lee Roth's autobiography, Crazy from the Heat.
Yeah, see,
26 by 30 oil painting of a chart detailing average monthly rainfall levels, resting precariously upon the apex of an Easter Island head dressed like the Gleek from the all-new Super Friends Hour.
Yeah, so that's none of them fun freeze framers. One that I found off of the rabbit hole that is TV tropes was that they have a flashback to when Michael first gets the assignment for this new neighborhood that he's crafting here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you freeze frame his desk before they throw the paper down, you can see that what he was currently working on was flesh-ripping lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if I had seen that before, I guess I wouldn't have assumed he was a good place architect.
He name drops some different tortures that they have in traditional Bad Place, which include penis flattening. He was like higher up the old penis flattener.
Yep.
There's spiders that come out of your butt.
Or they go into your butt. I don't think they were clear which was which.
Yeah.
They just called them butt spiders.
Butt spiders. There's like piranhas. Something with piranhas.
Yeah. There's a bear with two mouths. And bears with 4 heads that can fly. But then there's also stupidly mundane.
But there's different hot dog departments.
Right,
Departments of hot dogs.
Where can you stuff hot dogs?
Yeah, where you can stuff hot dogs, you can have people turn into hot dogs, you can force feed them hot dogs.
Right. And then there's some mundane ones, like in season 1, when Eleanor is fake Eleanor is about to go back to the bad place where she belongs, and she's on the train.
Oh yeah, the train.
There's a train that goes to all these places. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor is talking about how this train ride will have 1 million stops.
Yeah.
And also, it is hot in here, and it will get 1 degree hotter every time you think about, wow, it's hot in here.
That would be my torture, because I hate it when I'm in, like, a hot place.
Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely think about it, and I would, like, boil alive in there.
Yeah.
And then also the train and the Bad Place trains always... Was it they arrive 3 hours late every time?
I think so.
Something like that.
So, beyond
You fat dinks.
You fat dinks. Yep. We will never see the Bad Place on this show because we are a network sitcom.
We've kind of seen.
Right, but nothing of
There are different areas of the Bad Place.
True. There's like this bank-looking area where they do a lot of the business of the Bad Place.
Mm-hmm. And he took them to the Museum of Low-Grade Crappiness because their tiny human minds couldn't comprehend the horrible tortures going on to people. Though it really is a sliding scale of tortures. You get like the classic, fire and brimstone stuff and the really petty stuff.
Which probably also fits with the crimes because, as we've mentioned already, like the people that get into the Bad Place range from like just annoying assholes to to straight up evil murderers.
Yeah.
Which is part of what could be the
because
flaw of the Bad
Jason
Place.
Isn't a malicious person. He's just stupid.
Right. Eleanor didn't do anything really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that would be like, wow, she definitely deserves to go to hell.
Yeah.
She's just an asshole.
Yeah.
And she makes this argument for most of season 1 that, like, she's not really a good person, but, like, eternal torture?
Yeah, she's like, I want to go to a medium place, like Cincinnati. And I'm like, fair.
We're all going to Cincinnati.
Fair.
And I'm curious if the show is going to go in that direction fully, where, like, they try to fix that system.
Mm-hmm. It would take a while, probably.
Yeah, or a half a season.
Because I doubt that those four... Well, I don't know, because no one's ever been put in that specific situation before.
Yeah,
where
this is
changed
new.
And become better people in the bad place or worse people.
Right, Michael's idea of how to torture people is revolutionary. Every other demon he talks to is like, this is dumb, let's just do what we always do with these people.
Butt spiders, bring them out.
But let's get the butt spiders. And so when Michael they're like learning for the first time ever that like humans can learn and be better even after death.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting if the show explores this more.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's probably more common for people in the good place to end up worse. Because, at least from my experience, like, there's a point where good people can become kind of uppity and be like, I'm such a good person, and just sort of be dicks to everyone around them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like would be more...
that's kind of a cheating spot, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, he knows he's a good person, and he
that's
is,
why.
but he also...
It's actually, I think it's a psychological phenomenon, actually,
Mm-hmm.
where the more good deeds or good things people do, the worse they are to people. Like, I heard something about how vegans are more likely to be rude to service workers because they think they have the right to.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because another one of those fun little like tidbits they throw in about this show is that it is worth more points to never talk about being a vegan unprompted than it is to be a vegan.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, and I believe that, because I've seen that where, you know, you eat all organic, you know, you work out every day, and you're just rude to people who don't make the same exact choices as you because you're a better person than them. Yeah.
So it would be interesting to... I don't think I'd want to see it on the show, because we're really connected to the four main characters at this point, but it'd be interesting to see, like, them try to implement a system of other bad place people kind of like learning to be better people and see if that can work.
Yeah. Because the only other human being we've met outside of the people who are still alive and the main four is Mindy St. Clair, so...
Right. And I think she's exactly where she deserves to be on that one.
Exactly, yes. She is perfectly suited for the medium place.
Right. And I think this kind of goes to where this show can go from here, because there's good and bad in this show. Is that the end goal of the show is pretty easy to figure out, like them getting to the good place.
Yes,
that's the very obvious. This is where we're ending the show, and the show moving at a breakneck speed is really cool, because you never know where they're going next, because you can't really predict at what pace they're going, but at the same time...
Yeah, also you don't get impatient being like, alright, we get it, just get them there.
Yeah.
Because there's always something happening.
Right, but then we're sitting here after 2 seasons and 26 episodes, and I'm kind of thinking like, okay, how much longer can we move this along?
Yeah. I think that it's planned for at most 5 seasons, because it's not a concept that can last that long. It's very singular and specific.
You have to keep the story moving.
From the beginning, there was an end goal that they were going to reach.
Right.
You know, it's not like a sandbox video game where you can just do whatever you want for as long as you want.
Mm-hmm. And the show starts to lose. If they have to keep coming up with, like, excuses and reasons they can't be in the good place, it's going to get annoying.
Yeah. So, as of now, great job.
Yeah, we're 2 seasons in. I think they have 2 more already. I think they're renewed for 2 more seasons.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're interested in the show, definitely hit up Netflix for season 1, which is on there. Season 2 will probably be there in, like, September.
If you're not in America, it's already there.
Yay.
Because America is, like, really weird about how they put things and, like, broadcast things, because it's, like, it's on NBC and on Hulu and on Netflix, but You know, overseas, since they don't really have NBC, they just upload them on Netflix.
Yeah, they don't have Hulu. Hulu, I think, is the centralizing issue here.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love Hulu, because now I never have to watch live television.
Now I can watch Will and Grace whenever I want.
Yeah, but that is definitely contractually what the problem is, because Hulu is owned by the major television corporations in America. So
Yeah.
they're like, LOL, Netflix isn't getting this for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, Austin, do you have anything to plug?
I guess I do, but it's not going to be anything that Dave and Elizabeth did kind of plug last week. So I'm in Off the Lake Productions with the rest of Fan 5 Stick.
Way.
So we have Hunchback of Notre Dame next weekend, isn't it?
Last weekend of February, first weekend of March.
Yep. And then Dog Sees God's is the last weekend of March.
Mm-hmm. I want to say it, yeah.
I want to say. And then we have the Fan 5 Stick Gaming channel we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We've got...
Come watch me stumble my way through South Park: The Stick of Truth.
We've got like 10 episodes worth of material filmed. We just have to
watch as we pause to eat calzones. Wonder if I'm ever gonna get my falafel.
We have some fun side plots. And then
cower as David and Elizabeth make out in the background.
They don't actually, but
I mean, they probably did at some point.
I
love you guys.
I was focused on the game. Yeah, I exist in this playthrough as like the one person who's played the game and thus knows what to do.
I think David's played it.
He's played a couple hours. I've finished the game.
Mm.
And then going forward for this channel, I know last week we talked about Fan 5 Stick plays Dream Daddy, and I definitely want to be there for that.
Oh, I want to play that so bad.
I do as well. I already told David also that when Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm a huge fan of that series, comes out, I want the capture card. I want to do a playthrough for that. I guess we could call it Fan 5 Stick Plays, but it'll probably only be me, because for those of you who don't know about Kingdom Hearts, you poor people, Kingdom Hearts is a very lore-heavy series, and despite the fact that it is called Kingdom Hearts 3, it will be the 10th game of the series.
Oh my god. Wait, how is that possible?
I'm glad you asked.
Damn it! We got there!
We talked...
Anyway.
We talked about it, and there it goes. But yes, so... Oh, I'm excited to tell you, though, about the wonderful release order of Kingdom Hearts, because it's a shit show. So, Kingdom Hearts 1 came out on the PS2 in, like, 2002 or something. I got it roughly when it came out. Then they came out with Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for the Game Boy Advance. And despite how you might think that makes it it's like a side game, no. They put, like, crucial plot details and progression in these games that aren't on the main console. But anyway, but then they re-released it on the PS2 a few years later.
Mm-hmm. Then
they come out with Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PS2. Then Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days on the Nintendo DS. Then the Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep on the PlayStation Portable.
Right.
Then Kingdom Hearts Coded, which was a Japanese cell game that they made for the DS, I believe, that is recoded. Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance 3D on the Nintendo 3DS. Then you have Kingdom Hearts 0.2, a Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage that's a PS4 exclusive. And then you have Kingdom Hearts Union X, which is a...
Did they unionize?
No, but I wish. It'd be hilarious. And that is a phone game. And all of them have crucial plot details. Now, they've fixed this a lot in that... Oh, not only that, is that after the first game came out, in Japan, they came up with Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 Final Mix.
Right.
Where they added scenes that are canon, and it only released in Japan.
Oh my god.
Until
Disney, what are you doing?
I think that's a Square Enix problem, to be honest. But then after that, in the last couple of years, they've come out with... They've re-released all these games, including the final mixes, on PlayStation 3 and then PlayStation 4. So now I can actually jump in and replay these games instead of just reading about it on the internet. But yeah, it is a lore-heavy series, so I feel like if I tried to play it with the rest of Fan 5 Stick, that everyone would enjoy getting to see everyone go to Disney World and fight with Disney heroes, but no one but me would understand what actually was happening.
That is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for listening to Get Off the Stage podcast. We'll be back in probably around a week talking about another thing that I am interested in. All right. See ya.